owner of a file to the colleague or to the friend of that particular file. So here there is a transfer of rights happening. Okay. Now what is to be considered is I need to find out that what all rights I am providing to one of my friend. Here the right which is being provided is read write. Okay, so how is it done? So first, before transferring the rights, it is checked whether the owner actually owns that file or not. If he has the privileges of owning that file, only then he can transfer the rights or he can add any extra rights into it. Okay, now here this is saying that let's say after command 1 the rights of this particular user are being copied to this particular user and the other one. So the one who is there in the second row is actually the owner of the third column file. Okay. Now when he is the owner, on the basis of the command 2, he is transferring the rights to the order in the user in the row 3 and the user in the row 4. Okay, now while transferring of the rights, there can be a situation where the read write, even if it exists into the system for a particular user, it gets overwritten, or while transferring the rights, read write gets written into a place where the owner is actually not interested to transfer it. Okay, so actually here the problem majorly occurs when the right transfer is happening and it is not done onto a dedicated location. When will it not be done? It would either will not be done due to certain other processes as well running into the operating system, or what might be happening is that there are other processes which have been generated by different users as well. Okay, so I'll give you an example. This is a user one who is accessing this particular file. Parallelly, you are using that file and the privileges which are present into that file to transfer the privileges associated to that file only. So what is happening? The file is common. It is being used by multiple users. There isn't any restriction that one user can use it at one single time. Let's say both of these users are having equal privileges. So they'll use it parallelly. Now, the problem only comes in that case that when the users are using parallel files, there can be a case that due to the parallel utilization of that particular file or due to the parallel utilization of that access matrix, there can be a situation where when I'm copying the rights, these are copied onto a different location. Okay, so this leaky state says that I would actually be leaking only the read write. Here we are not talking about transferring the write permissions or transferring the owner's permission or transferring the deletion permission. We are only transferring a read request. Okay. Now here, in case of a leaky state, it says that if uh, the leaky situation will only occur in case of a read write when there exists a command that adds read into an entry in the access matrix that did not previously contain R. So when I'm transferring the write to this, there is a possibility that the read get transferred for this particular user, or the read gets transferred for any different file into a different file for different user. Here what is happening? If only this thing, this and this would have occurred, it would have been correct. However, while transferring this, the read write got transferred into any different cell which is neither belonging to that particular user nor is belonging to that particular file. This situation is referred as a leaky state. Okay, now this says that leaky situation may not always be bad. This normally focuses upon the fact that you are only providing read privileges. Okay, major problem comes in association of files with the users when you are transferring or when you are giving higher privileges. Okay, you're only giving a read privilege due to which the even if the user is not dedicated to use that particular file, he would actually only have an access to find out what is there into that file or what data is stored into it. Other than that, he doesn't have any rights for it. So that is why it is said that while transferring, it is possible that you can copy the read privilege into any cell into the matrix. So it would not alter the functionality or the security of the system at a very higher risk. Though it is a risk, but it is not the one which needs to be immediately catered upon or immediately I need to have a look into this issue. You can take it as an acceptable situation. Okay, now if I talk about that, there is a leaky state into my system, the problem still exists that I would consider that a particular user is able to access it, even if he doesn't have a certain authorization credentials. If he'll not have an authorization credentials, obviously that particular user will not be granted access to it. Clear? So if there is entry into the access matrix, you are obviously having multiple other defensive mechanisms into the system. It is not just that you only look into this particular matrix to find out whether the user is authorized or not. That is why whenever we employ any security system, we have n layers of security. We do not rely upon only one layer of security. So having an access matrix and storing the privileges associated to the users and the objects into it, it would be better to find out or to find out any glitches if they are occurring while accessing the file. Then even if the user is authorized to access, he has the valid credentials and still he is not allowed to access this. In that case, the access matrix would be considered. Okay, any doubt? I hope it is clear now. Any other doubt? Okay, so I'll go ahead with it. So in last class, I told you something where I said that uh, you have three users. So let's say here A, B, and C are three different levels. So we would say that A, B, C are the security classes, which are actually mentioned in the certain security policies. So we would say that A is a class which is highly secure, C is a class which is less secure. Okay, we can form an analogy. Like A is a user who is the most privileged user, C is a user who is least privileged user. These blue balls, green balls, and yellow balls over here confer to the objects which are associated to all of these security classes. So here this would mean that these are the files which are highly secure files and have been uh, given access only via the authorizations which A confers to. So here it says that if B is accessing a file, he can only access the files which are present at his level. Okay, similarly, there is for C. So what does this show that you see the relation over here? This says that SC stands for security class. Arrows denotes the information flow. Okay, and this is a join which tells you the relation between two different classes. Okay, now the information flow B tends to A. What does this mean? that the information can flow from B to A. Okay, so this means that if I want the objects which are part of B at a location A, I can access those. Or in other words, what can I say? I can copy the information of the files which is present at B location to A location. Okay. Other words as well, what can I do is, if a file is being accessed by B, that file can also be accessed by A. Okay, so this is only a representation that what does it mean? B tends to A. This means that information can flow from B to A. Okay, now if I say that the information can flow from B to A, this can mean that there is a file, there is a common file, but it has some data which is accessible for A, some data which is accessible for B only. Okay, because we said that here A, B, and C are referring to the security classes. So if there is a file whose data needs to be accessed at the higher level or at the lower level, we would only allow it if the privileges are accepted. Okay, the second line shows that C tends to B tends to A. So you can say that one object can be copied over here. From here, it can be copied over here. This doesn't mean that you can directly copy the data from C to A. There needs to be a proper information flow. First, it would be escalated to a higher privilege level, then it would be escalated to the next level. Okay. The third line here says that since A is the highest security class, this would mean that in any relation, A would be the dominant class. So here it says that C is lesser than equals to B, lesser than equals to A. So these are the certain representations which are normally used in the security policies or the information flow policies which are generated. Okay, these are generated just to find out that and just to give certain rules which are related to the users and the files which are created. The access which needs to be given to the users for a corresponding file. Okay. Now, the next I told you that this is a join relation. So what does this join relation mean? That the objects which are part of one particular security class, if combined with any other security class, can be transferred to the third security class. Okay, so if I say that one object from C combining with the one object from B, then the information flow can happen either to A or it can only be stored up till B. So these are the certain representations which are used in the information flow policies. Okay, moving ahead, I'll tell you certain examples. Now, the most secure case, if I talk about in case of the information policies, would be that all of the levels which are there or the classes which are there, security classes are represented from A1 to AN, saying that A1 is your lowest class and your AN is the highest class. Now, if we are talking about the information flow, your information flow can happen from one class to the other class, where AI tends to AI. Okay, now here if I say that AI tends to AI, this would mean that I am transferring data within same levels. So this would mean that C tends to C, B tends to B, A tends to A. Now, this actually means that I am not changing any files which are subjected to different subjects location. Clear? So if I say that C tends to A, so none of the object which is present in each of these level will be moved to any different level. That is the best way of having a secured system, that none of the subject and neither of the objects are interfering any other user's data transfer. But this is a very trivial case. It's a very standard case which will obviously not be evident in every time. So what could be the other possibilities, that if there is a file which is required at the different instances by different users, but it is actually present at with only a specific user. For that cases, we need to have certain information flow policies where you are only transferring the data from low to high. Why are you transferring the data from low to high? We normally say that the lowest level which has is considered as the least trusted level. Okay, so if we are saying that lowest level is considered as the least trusted level, we would, if I'm changing the file's location from C to B, what I am doing is I am trying to add certain security constraints or add certain data into that file so that it would be considered as more trusted. So if any other user uses it, he can use it just by saying that it is, since it is present at a certain confidentiality level or certain security level, I would consider it safe. In such case, what can be said that obviously it's a standard case that SC contains all of your security classes. Here, the information flow will always happen from a lower security class to the higher security class, which means that AJ tends to AI, where J would always be lesser than equals to I. Okay, and now when you are moving the data, then you are shifting the security class for that particular object. So this would mean that I am using a joint relation with the class of higher privileges. So if I say that object in B is joined with object in C, what would be its newer location? Obviously, it would be in object in class B. Okay, so this thing tells you that when you are joining both of these objects which are present at two different classes, what would be the class, newer class allocated to that particular file? So here it is saying that if I'm joining a higher security class with the lower security class object, then the objects which is created new would be assigned the higher security class. Okay, now going ahead, we spoke about that in case of DAC, the problem comes in when you are copying the data or when you are saying that there is a vulnerability which is normally referred as a Trojan case. Okay, so now the representation in that, we said that we have access matrix models, we have access control list. So there the scalability and the flexibility was much lesser in comparison to Mac. Now here what is done in case of a mandatory access control, you have a central system or a central authority who is only giving you access and who has all the rights. We said in the previous case, in case of access matrix model, that the rights can either be transferred by the administrators or it can be transferred by the individual users who are the owner of that particular file. However, in case of mandatory access control, there is only one central authority who controls the entire data transfer and controls the entire shifting of the rights. Okay, so here the policy which is adopted in case of a mandatory access control is referred as it's a multi-level security. Okay, so terminologies which will be used here will be similar to the ones which were there in DAC. Here the subjects would be there. Similarly, we would for objects on the basis of these privileges which are assigned to the subject and object pairs. You would either be given access or you would not be given access. Now, here the access is somewhat used in conjunction to the clearance level. So, if you have a particular clearance level, then only you will be allowed to access that file. Okay, so as of now, as shown in the figure, we'll say that the mandatory access control will have 4 different levels. On these 4 levels only, we will be classifying the subjects and the objects. Okay, so the most lower level is referred as the unclassified, next is the confidential, the other one is secret, and the last is top secret. As the figure says that there is the arrow representation from unclassified to the confidential, then to the secret, and then to the top secret. This means that you're only transferring the information upwards. It is not flowing downwards. Clear? Now, there is a special concept which is related to this. We'll discuss this in the next slide. As of now, we consider this that the hypothesis is, the theory is this, that the information will always flow upwards and it can never flow downwards. Okay. Now, on this of, yes.
Ma'am, like this one previously we have said low to high. Ma'am, it is same as in the previous slide that we have discussed.
Yes, yes. So this is a standard information policy. I did not say that this is limited to that only.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So this is the standard information flow policies which are actually adopted. This is something which I told you initially about formal representation. So this is a formal representation and the security mechanisms which need to be adopted. Okay. Now, I did not specify here as well that the operations which needs to be done which should be read or they should be write. Now, in case of Mac, I'll tell you that which one is allowed, whether reading is allowed or whether writing is allowed in the upward directions or in the downward direction.
Okay.
Okay. So here, what is done is, since you're having 4 levels, now corresponding to all of these 4 levels, you would be having files, and there would be a particular subject who would be accessing these files. Okay. Now he would only be accessing the file depending upon the level he is present on. If that guy is present on top secret level, he can read write depending upon the conditions which are there in a mandatory access control system. Now, what are the policies on what basis the access is done? These policies are limited to 4 modes. One is read, write, append, and execute. Only these 4 operations will be done into a system which is obeying MAC. Okay. Now, when a system is obeying MAC, he can have or he can follow the MAC system on the basis of different models. So there are different models which are associated to MAC access, but every model has certain different rules. One of the model which was proposed is BLP model, that is Bell-LaPadula model. Okay. Now within this model, yes, there is this. The concept is similar that it would revolve around subjects and the objects, but the major distinction is on the basis of in what directions will the operations be performed or in what direction will the information flow happen. Okay. Now here it is saying that the BLP model is part it has two properties. So there are two mandatory access control rules in case of BLP model. First one is SS property or simple security property, which says that no read up is allowed. Okay, so let's say the figure over here. You have all of the four multi-level security layers. It said that initially that information flow will always happen upwards. It will not happen downwards. Okay, so these are the security levels associated. Next, I have a subject. So this is a subject, but the subject has a clearance level of confidential. What does what mean? That this is a B subject. There can be other subjects as well, but B is belonging to a security class confidential. Okay. Now, if a subject is belonging to this security class confidential, this would mean that he would have the right to access all of the files which are present in this particular level. Okay, so if I only say that only this blue arrow is there and none of these are there, this would mean that AI tends to AI. Okay, this is a standard system. Now, when we are talking about the information flow or shifting of the objects, since I said that clearance of this particular user is confidential, he has the right to access these as well. Why? Because this particular user is a higher privileged user. He can access the files which are present in this domain. What access can be done? He can only read the informations which are there into this file. Okay? Any doubt? Now, the problem is, what if this particular user wants to read the files which are at the higher level? Obviously, he will not be allowed for it. Reason that the file which is present at this level will be having some information that is only open to them. Now, since the user doesn't have access of secret and top secret level, he cannot be allowed even to read those files. That is why it is said that he can read the files which are present at the lower level, but he cannot read the files which are present at the higher level. Now, clear? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now coming to the second property, which says that no write down. So the property is denoted in this form, which is said as no write down. Now, if I say that no write down is allowed, what can happen is the consider two cases. First, as a very standard case, that my system is a secured system. Okay, when my system is a secured system, even if I am present at this particular file, sorry, it's at this particular level, what would I assume? That I am the most secured level. The files which are present at my level will always be correct. Okay, the files which are present at the above level, I would assume that I do not have access to those files, but the information which is there into those files will always be correct. They will, since I am saying that I am a user who has been given least privilege and the other user is having higher privileges. So consider me as the customer and the other user as the manager. So we have a misconception that always the manager would be correct. But there can be case that It's not just the manager can be it's not just the customer who can be correct, but there can be a situation where the manager can also be the corrupt one. So this no write down policy is related to that only. So this would mean that you cannot assume that all of the files which are present at these higher hierarchy are always containing correct data. Even if it has been said that the levels are confidential, secret, and top secret, the files which are present at this location will not be accessible to the user who is present at the unclassified level due to the concept that the user has the least privileges. But there is a possibility that the file which is present over here or the file which is present over here is having certain lines of code which are invalid and which actually can be related as the spurious lines of code. So what activity, if I say that I'm writing down, this would mean that that particular line of code which were there into the file present at the confidential level can also be copied down. So in this case, had there been a situation where the user which is present at the unclassified level and has files which are present at the unclassified level, even if that user is trusted, he doesn't have any spurious lines of code available at that. But since you are saying that you can directly use the file which is present at this level and copy the content into the unclassified level, this would copy that malicious code as well. Clear? So this would mean that I am copying the data which is not valid into a location which is from starting as well. It is said that it is not secure, but the data which was present, it was actually secure. I hope you all are getting what I'm saying. Should I repeat? Should I repeat? Am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
I hope no write down is clear, or should I repeat once again?
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, I'll repeat it. I guess nobody is saying anything. Um,
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes.
Ma'am, if a file at the confidential level
Hmm.
has malicious code,
Uh,
then it will not be copied onto the unclassified level until and unless the user at the confidential level does so, right?
yes. I'll give you an example. Wait. So let's consider that there are three levels C, B, and A. Okay. Now within this B, there is a file which is saying that C dot uh, abc.c. Clear? Now, since abc.c is a file which contains swap code, okay, this also contains a swap version, okay, but this swap file has 5 lines, this has 12 lines. Clear? Now, what does it mean? That there are two files, two versions of swap. One version has 12 lines, the other version has 5 lines. Okay. Now, if a fourth user comes in, what would he mean? He would try to find out that since your C is a lowest security level, I will not trust this swap code. Instead, I will trust this swap code. You'll have a notion that the swap which is present at this B level is a secured file. Clear? Now, what can you do is, since your B is present at a higher level and C also believes that C is above, sorry, okay, B is above me, whatever data is present at this will always be valid data. I will also trust B much more than trusting me. That would be a notion at C and B's end. So if I try to say that I'll copy the file which is present at this location to, I'll copy the file here. Now, even if the swap which was present at C's location was 5 lines of code, but it was correct. Instead, the code which is present at B level. Clear? So if I allow write down, I am allowing. If I am allowing write down, I am copying that spurious code into the location where my actual correct code was there. So this says that if I am trusting B, this doesn't mean that I'll always trust the information which is present at B so that it can be copied into different levels. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So do not confuse no write down with saying that you can write up. Okay. So for BLP model, you have no write down and no read up. Clear? Please use only these terminologies. Don't say that if you are saying no write down is there, so this would mean that you can do write up. There are certain conditions as well when you can do write up. But BLP model is related to only no write down and no read up. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Now, moving forward, this would tell you the example what I was saying. So at the confidential level, let's say this is a process which needs to be present. So this would read the higher classified object. Okay, the level we were saying that the process or the file is present at this location. So this confidential file is reading a object which is classified at a higher level. Now, within that particular process, there is a line of code which is saying that it's a Trojan. So if you copy the content of this file to the lower location, if when you are writing down, then this Trojan would also be copied into the unclassified level, which would be saying that I am copying a untrusted program to a level which is even it is unclassified, then also I am trying to copy a spurious files into it. So that is why a process infected with a Trojan could read confidential data and write it down to the unclassified. Also, we trust the users, but not the subjects over here. So here, this should not be subjects. This should be proper of the files which objects which are there, or the content which is there into those particular files. That is why we are not allowing any write down. Okay. Now, the limitations of the BLP model. We said that we are not writing down. Now we need to find out whether we are allowed to write up or not. Okay. Now you guys think of a situation where your write up will be advantageous. Your slide is available to you all. Can you think of the situation?
Now, if there's a security flaw in a top secret level,
Okay.
and the user at the secret level, if it's using a function or a file that is in the top secret level, it
Mhm.
can report the security flaw.
Okay. So your write up is allowed or it should never be allowed.
And should allow.
It should be allowed. Okay. Will there not be any integrity issues?
And there will be, if there's a write-up situation, someone might uh, someone may upload a file or virus into the top secret file.
Okay. So, if I try to conclude and say that your write up is allowed in BLP, but considering that the files which are there in the top secret level are always secured files. Is this statement correct?
Ma'am, can you please repeat it?
I said that write up is allowed in BLP with the concept that all of the files which are there in the top secret level are secured.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll give you one more case. As of now, what are we doing is we take this example here. This user's clearance level is confidential. Okay. Now he want to write into a file which is at the secret level. Okay. Now, if I talk about writing, what would it mean that whatever data is present at this level will be directly copied onto here. Fine. Clear? Should I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, when you are copying the data from a lower level to a higher level, there are chances that the values between both of these levels differ. I'll again consider the swap program. Let's say the variables which were used in the confidential level were A and B, and these had values 2 and 3. Okay. At the secret level, the same swap program had three variables. Okay. Here, A, B, and C are the three variables, but the variables which are used in swapping is A and C only. Clear? Now, when you are copying the data from the confidential level to the secret level, you are actually copying the data of A and B. Understood what I'm trying to say? there can be certain integrity issues. Integrity in context of a swap program is based upon the values which are there associated to the variables. Until and unless that integrity issue arises, until and unless the variables which are there at the higher level doesn't change their identity, doesn't change their value, or are completely unaffected, in that case you can write up. Okay, but as soon as there is a problem that you are modifying the value which is there in the secret and the top secret level, in that case the write-up would always be considered as a big no, because what you are actually doing is you are copying the data from a lower level to a higher level. This means that you are trusting the confidential levels data. When you are trusting the confidential level data, this would be said that uh, the data which is present at the confidential level will be used by the secret level. Okay, so to summarize, what I am saying is, yes, write-up is possible in BLP. But if there are problems which are related to integrity in the higher levels, in that case, your BL write-up doesn't address the situation. Write-up would only be possible when you consider an assumption that there won't be any mismatch in the values occurred due to the copying of the data from lower level to the higher level. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So we'll go ahead with this in next class. Okay. So when I told you about the BLP and the one more model, the other one is a BIBA model. So since I spoke up about this point that write-up is allowed in case of BLP, it will only be considered when you are considering confidentiality. If you are talking about integrity, the factor of BLP will not be considered. So if you want to address some problems like authentication, confidentiality, and integrity, in some of the cases some of the cases you'll be using BLP model where you are allowing write-up. In some of the cases you will be using BIBA model where you are talking about integrity. Here this BLP model can only be used when we are talking about confidentiality. Okay, I'll send you these slides. The all the remaining slides are also present in this, so you can go through the text. Okay, so okay, I'll send you these slides.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.